They are veterans and really great ears. They know what they want, and they're very specific about it. And with such a wide fan base, they know what their fans are looking for.
Like a full week of pre-production in the Oakland Arena, and that was sort of the only chance I was able to be like where they'd stop between songs. I could run out there and move a mic, or if that mic doesn't sound good, let's try this. The guitars are in isolation boxes underneath the stage, so you can't really get in there to make a change, but at least it's isolated, and when you get it right, no one can knock over the microphone or something. Where the drum set's a whole different thing, because you're in the arena, you've got a PA, the whole PA is hung up above them. You got a lot of sound pressure coming from above, so what can you use on top of the kit? What sounds good in the studio might not sound good in an arena, and that is the case.
There were so many options because of the way they mic that band live, which is a beautiful thing. It was just a matter of choosing what those were going to be. We also knew in the beginning, once we established James's guitar sound, Kirk's guitar sound, the ever-changing bass sound depending on what act he was using. Once we established that, then we just always had to make sure that we honored it as we went from night to night. And because of the consistency of the way they mic that band and how professional that tour is, it was really consistent. What wasn't consistent is the audience.
You can't really rehearse that until they're there. And once they're there, the band has to play a show. The audience participates a lot in a lot of the songs singing. And also because it's in the round, you don't have this traditional stage at one end and the audience going back and back and back. We hung mics from the ceiling all around. And then when you're mixing, now you're sort of in a more traditional scenario where the band is in front of you on the screen. How do you translate that circular mic pattern into something that surrounds you while you're in the theater?
And the other thing that would happen is that there were problems with, for example, a crane deciding, okay, now the crane's coming through, it'll be taking out all of your audience mics. What? So the first night was without the crane coming through. The second night was brand new mic positions for all the audience. So then the challenge there is how do you make the arena sound the same? How do you get that audience to be consistent?
We had to do a lot of sounds that bridged concert to narrative. Do sound effects do that? Does music do that? You know, what were those transitional elements? So part of my job was to create sonic transitions.
And the beautiful part of going to the narrative was the movie would shift gears. You would now quiet everything down, and you're going to start putting some nice stylized atmospheres and some really nice sound opportunities for the film.
By the time it arrived to my desk, it was about 128 channels of things that were broken down, which is kind of remarkable when you think it's a four-piece band. and how wide can it be? I had several 5/0 tracks, several 4/0 tracks, several 3/0 tracks, multiple ambience tracks. Through the course of the process, we were sweetening, we were adding, we actually brought in tracks that were subtractive from the mix, so that if we wanted to change the EQ level of a particular guitar or snare drum, we could phase invert it and subtract it. So it's probably some of the widest Pro Tools sessions I've ever experienced as a mixer, but it went through almost a year of grooming by blending various concerts by the time it arrived to my desk. We started with the 7.1, and that was the benchmark. And we went to the IMAX format next, which is a different style of bass management. And we wanted to take what we had created in the 7.1 and find out if there's any way to enhance that experience or at least match it. So that was the benchmark to go from there. And then the decision was made after we had finished the 7.1 mix that we were going to do the first Dolby Atmos concert film, which we were excited about, which brings in a whole nother level of speaker arrays. And we wanted to keep the integrity of the punchiness and the aliveness of the 7.1 mix, and then find out if there's any areas we could expand and blow out into the other formats.
I come from the music world, and one of the big hurdles is always coming up with a good mix that sounds good everywhere. So, you know, you're doing a mix, you've got it in your controller, you got the near fields, you've got your big speakers on the wall, you check it in your car, check it in headphones, check it in earbuds, whatever. How's it sound on a laptop? All these things. I've got 10 different things that I check stuff on. And I always feel like I pretty much cover my bases. In the movie world, you're dealing with a field that there's no way you have access to it. You can't make it great in every theater, especially the ones that have blown subwoofers. But how do you make it great in a big room? How do you make it great in a small room? How do you make it great in a room that's got really tired drivers? It's just an interesting thing for us to try to tackle. And we did take it around town, and from what the guys that are from the movie world, more than they normally do. And sometimes it seemed a little backwards to some of the guys because it felt like we should be mixing for the greatest possible situation. And my thing was I want it to be great in the greatest possible situation, but I want it to be pretty rad in a ragged theater in the middle of nowhere as well. And how do you do that and take care and making sure that it's good there too? And that was an interesting challenge to figure out how to do that.
I can honestly say I took on a whole nother level of ear training, listening to detail in this process, and sort of looking back, I can look at a learning curve of things that I might have overlooked, really in the process of deconstructing this and really focusing and tuning in and being aware and experimenting with just the most subtle changes of level balances or EQs. What a dramatic difference it made to this particular material. It was a fun experience to really find that lock that really made it work.
For me, it's always very satisfying when the band, directors, anybody that we work for are satisfied with what they're hearing and they're happy and they're complimentary and they walk away loving what they heard, saying, hey, that sounded great. That always makes us feel good because we care so much about sound. We're very passionate about it. And we have a way that we want to hear things. And if somebody else hears it the same way we do and it sounds great and everybody's loving it, that's a touchdown.
They're just really talented guys. It's a great combination of skills because each guy has something a little bit different about them, what they're really, really good at, and it's a puzzle that fits together really well.
They're really going to feel like they're there in the front rows of a rockin' concert, especially with the big picture, because it rocks. It feels good.